Now that we've covered a bit about what Open Payments is and what makes it special, let's walk through what an actual Open Payments flow looks like to get the picture from beginning to end and understand some of the nuances as we go along. So just like when you open any other account, step one is to actually go to Super Awesome Bank in this case and open up that account. And just the same way as usual, when you open up an account, the account provider is going to ask you for your KYC information. So they're going to need, your legal name and your tax jurisdiction and whatever the information it is that they require from you before you're able to open an account. And once you've successfully opened an account, they'll give you your account number and, more importantly, your very shiny new wallet address. And like you can see here, Bob, who opened up his account, has got this https://bank.com Bob. Okay, and that's nice, easy to remember, easy to read, feels familiar, which is a really nice advantage when it comes to working with payments and being sure that you're giving someone the correct payment information or you're paying the correct person. So now he can take that wonderful wallet address and put it to use. So this is going to be the example that we work with where we've got an online music marketplace that has a song collection, and some users can upload songs and then others can download. And when you download a song, you pay for it, and some of that money will go across to the musician. So we've got Alice on the one side and Bob Marley, probably heard of him, who will be uploading his songs to the online marketplace. So we've got our customers who are end users, Alice and Bob. We've got the online client application, so that's going to be our music marketplace. And then we've got our account servicing entities or account providers. So Alice has a digital wallet and Bob has his Super Awesome Bank. Now, when we look at the flows, it's not as simple as saying, well, the music place store is going to make a request to Super Awesome Bank, because it's a little bit more layered as to what's needed. So every account servicing entity is going to need a wallet address server where they host information that's returned whenever a wallet address is queried. They're going to need a resource server, and that's where resources will be created and stored. So resources will be quotes, for example, and we'll go through all of them one by one in the following slides. And then you need an authorization server. So that's where access is granted to create resources. You can't just go and create a resource without authorization. That activity first needs to go through the authorization server and usual flow. And then you also need an identity provider. So it's all very well and fine to say that Sarah approved this payment, but you better be sure that it was indeed Sarah who did the approving. So as part of the Open Payments flow, because you've got direct access to users' accounts, you need to be sure that whenever money is being moved, users are agreeing to it. And you can only be sure of that if you are sure that you are talking to the right person. So for a start, Bob is going to upload some of his music, and then he's also going to upload his wallet address so that Music Place knows where to send money when somebody downloads his songs. And this wallet address is a URL, so it's also that service endpoint that provides the entry point for our API. So when Music Place kicks off this flow, the first step is to make a query directly to that wallet address, so that https://bank.com/Bob. And just to make this very clear, I just did a curl, used curl to make a GET request, and you can see that if I make a GET request to my test wallet address, then it returns an ID, that's my wallet address, a public name. So that can be any kind of nickname. It doesn't have to be tied to my personal identity in any way. I've got Sarah Euro because it's my Euro account. It's got the asset code, so Euro. Any account needs to have some kind of currency. So this would reflect what currency is being held in that account. And then also the asset scale. So this just sets the scale on the amount, kind of where you put the decimal point. So if I have 100 and an asset scale of 2, then that decimal point is going to be 2 spaces in, so it would actually only be a value of €1. That's just how it gets resolved. But I mean, yeah, don't worry too much about that. Then the endpoint to reach the auth server and the endpoint to reach the resource server. So what's really nice is that in order to make a payment using Open Payments, all you need is this wallet address. And that's because the wallet address contains all the rest of the information that you need to continue that flow. So of course, Alice will also need to upload her wallet address as well so that she's able to make payments. And then she can select a song and go to her checkout flow. So now MusicPace wants to initiate the payment. So the first step is to make a grant request to Super Awesome Bank's authorization server. And clients need to receive grants before they can issue any payment instructions. Grants give clients the authorization via access tokens in order to perform operations. For our grants, we use something called GNAP, which is the Grant Negotiation and Authorization Protocol, and we'll cover it more in the following lecture. But it's GNAP that's been used to make those fine-grained controls really possible, but also more reliable in how it works on a coding level. So all of those specific permissions around amounts for transactions, time-based and velocity-based limits, and so on. But we'll keep digging into that. Then, of course, this grant request is for an incoming payment. So just to make sure we understand what an incoming payment is, it's basically a resource on the recipient's account provider to let them know that they should expect money to come in and to provide specific payment details so that the sender knows exactly where to be sending that money and tracking it. So after the the grant request was responded to with an access token, then the MusicPace store can use that access token to make another request to the resource server to create an incoming payment. The next step is for MusicPace to make a grant request to the sender's authorization server, so to Alice's digital wallet authorization server, and this grant request is to make a quote. So part of what makes Open Payments so awesome is that you have to have this transparency built in. So the quote needs to calculate all the fees and costs up front. So if there's any transaction costs or any cross-currency exchange costs or anything like that, it needs to be clear so that when somebody agrees to a payment, they know exactly what it is that they're agreeing to upfront. And of course, quotes are only valid for a limited amount of time. You can't just have them extend indefinitely. Once that access token has been received, then MusicPace can make a request to the digital wallets or resource server, and that's to actually make that quote resource. After that, we move on to our last grant request, which is for an outgoing payment. But this one is a little bit more involved. So outgoing payments require explicit consent. So this is when money would actually move out of your account. So this is the step where the user themselves needs to consent to the payment. And this is done through the use of an interactive grant. So it's basically an extra layer of security for online transactions that's designed to protect both the consumers, the users, as well as the merchants from fraud. So you would kind of be redirected if you're using a computer, or if you're using an app on your phone, you'd probably get like a pop-up from that app, and they would check your identity using the identity provider. So either you'd have to enter a password or do a fingerprint verification or anything like that. And only at that point, once your identity has been verified, would you be able to then approve or reject that transaction. So for example, on your phone, you might get a pop-up with something that looks like this, that sort of says, what are the amounts, what are the fees, and do you agree to this, yes or no? So these requests for the grant request would go both to the authorization server, and then it would also involve requests to the identity provider, because you need the identity to make sure you're speaking to the right person, and then you also need to get their feedback about whether they consent or not before an access token can be given to the Music Place application. And only after the payment has been approved can that outgoing payment resource finally be created. And this is where the open payments flow comes to an end. So once the open payment resource is created, the incoming payment can complete and the open payments flow ends. And at this point, that's when the money actually moves from Alice's account to Bob's account. And like I said, that's outside of the open payments flow. So that's on that settlement layer. And then at last, Alice can download Bob's music and enjoy it. So let's have a look kind of what does this look like in practice. So I'm just going to switch my screen for a moment. So over here, this is my test wallet where I have an account, and this is my Euro account. So you'll see I have 2 wallet addresses associated with my Euro account, and I'm going to copy this one. And then I will switch screens again, and you can come and have a look. This awesome test boutique that we have, the Interledger test boutique, where you can shop for all the things you need most in the world. I think we need a little bit more kindness today, so I'll add that into my shopping cart and I will check out. I'm going to use Interledger to pay, and I will just paste in my wallet address, and then I can pay with Interledger. Now, what you're going to notice is that I've been redirected, and I'm actually now I've been redirected to the test wallet itself. So I'm outside of the boutique application, and I'm inside my wallet application where I can choose to accept that payment. Now I've been redirected back to the boutique application. Aha, and my payment has been successful. Fantastic. So we can go back to the test wallet and have a look through the transactions. And we will see this payment was made over here for 28 euros, where I finally got some much needed kindness and everything has been completed, just to show you how seamless of a process this can actually be.